All right, UFC 271, Robert Whittaker versus Israel Adesanya is happening this weekend, and we're here to preview the card and also give our bets for this weekend. All right, so first fight, Israel Adesanya versus Robert Whittaker. What do you guys think?
I think Izzy beats Whitaker like a drum in the first fight. He knocked him out twice in the first fight. He's a minus 300 on the favorites, and I think that's accurate. I don't think Robert Whitaker will have anything new for Israel Adesanya. He's shown to be too good a wrestler and too good a striker, and I don't think Whitaker has any attributes in Adesanya, much like Jan Blachowicz did, or Jan. Let's just say Jan.
So I was actually on Izzy a lot of this week, and I actually ended up rewatching the first fight, and I was actually surprised at how well Whitaker was actually doing in that fight. I thought even in the striking department, even though obviously like Whitaker got him with those two knockdowns, which are basically knockouts. I thought Whitaker had a lot of success in the striking department. I thought his jab was working well. Um, even when he was lunging in, a lot of the times he was getting the better of those exchanges. So I think there are things that Whitaker can change to make this fight better. I think in the first fight he was really just looking to like lunge in, throw like wild shots, and knock him out. I think he will probably do a less of that, mix in like the clinch and the wrestling, and look to drag Izzy into those deeper waters.
I mean, I'm inclined to agree with that, especially because, I mean, Whitaker does seem to be getting better as we see him more. And just having a fought Izzy the first time and learning, like, being in the cage with him, like, I don't think Whitaker truly realized how dangerous, like, Izzy was, like, until he got knocked the fuck down the first time. And I don't think anybody really did, because, like, we saw him in his fights, like, I think before that he fought Silva and then he fought Gastelum, and I don't think people realized how dangerous it was to just like try and get too aggressive with him. But now he's kind of proven that he'll fuck you up if you play with him. And
I
I think Whitaker will use that 10 minutes he had to improve himself. I think he'll have the timing down a little better. I think he'll have the range a little better. I think he'll be a lot more aware of the danger that he's in at certain distances. And I think he'll use the grappling to mix things up and make Izzy think about things besides his hands.
so I think that Whitaker fought a pretty smart fight that first fight because he basically was after Kevin Gastelum, which makes a lot of sense. He gave Izzy the most trouble. I think when we say mix in the grappling, we're assuming he's gonna take Jan's plan and like mix it in, but I don't think he's big enough to do so. I don't think he can point fight Izzy either because Izzy will definitely win, and Izzy is longer, has more attributes. He can't Yo Romero Izzy because he's not as strong as Yo Romero. Robert Whitaker's bread and butter is that 1-2 high kick. And you need to get in real close for that. But when you get in close to Izzy, you're probably going to get knocked out. Robert Whitaker has a really bad habit of getting into wars. Um, the fact that Darren Till nearly knocked him out, or at least knocked him down, thinks that over 5 rounds, Adesanya will find his mark and knock him out. I also think Marvin Vettori is a much better wrestler than Robert Whitaker. So, Izzy.
Yeah, I mean, I think since the last fight, since Izzy Whitaker won, I think both these guys have improved a lot. I think like Izzy it has somehow even become a better striker, but also I think Robbie has also become a better wrestler because just if you look at his fights, I think so. He fought Till, took him
He's
down
not a good
twice.
wrestler.
Not a great wrestler. But then he took down Kelvin 4 times. And Kelvin is a pretty decent wrestler, I would say. So I think Robert is learning to incorporate the grappling more into his fights, and I don't think he necessarily needs to take down Izzy all the way. As long as he can, get in that clinch and make Izzy work, and like not have like the length be an issue, like when they're fighting at distance. That's a win for Whitaker. So I feel like he has the necessary game plan changes to make it a closer fight, and I think this fight's going to go to the decision. Actually,
I think that's a pretty bad plan because in the first fight, Adesanya wasn't hitting him with straight punches. He was hitting him with hooks because Whittaker kept trying to get into like clinching and like lunging exchanges. So he tries to go in for more grappling. He's probably going to meet that hook again or an uppercut. So yeah, I don't see a pathway for Robert Whittaker to win here. Maybe if Izzy is surprisingly broken leg, and his wrestling just got really bad, or maybe he doesn't write Robert Whittaker's name in the death note or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I would like my plan for Robert would be to like he used like a blueprint similar to like Yoel Romero, and then mix in some of like the what Jan Blachowicz did. So like what did Yoel Romero do that like kind of like confused Izzy? Like he basically just like went into a staring contest with Izzy, and Izzy being the counter striker isn't really used to like initiating the exchanges. And so I think if Robert could do something like that and really pick his shots carefully instead of like lunging in all the fucking time. Pick his shots carefully, pump that jab. I think he can beat Izzy on the feet actually if he just works that jab a lot.
He's not as explosive as Yoel Romero, and Robert Whittaker has never really been like a counter puncher. So I don't see that. Like he leads fights a lot. That's what he did to Yoel Romero both times. And Kevin Gastelum, he just destroyed Kevin Gastelum. He also gets caught a lot in this fight, which really bothers me. Except for the Kevin Gastelum fight, like Cannonier and Till both caught him.
Yeah, for sure. Whittaker would for sure need to change up his game plan in a way that we've never really seen it. But I mean, I think fighters at that level are capable of making those adjustments when necessary. Like we kind of saw with Ngannou, right? Like Ngannou was kind of getting beat up on the feet against Gon, and then he turned into a wrestler. I think at some level, you have to like make those adjustments, and I think Whittaker is able to. Will be able to do that.
Same for Izzy. Yeah, he can make adjustments. Dermer?
I don't know if I have much to add. I think we've kind of covered everything. I think it's hard to pick because I think the value pick is Whittaker, but I don't mean it's such a hard matchup for him. Because like Josh said, like in order for him to win, he has to do things that like he doesn't do usually to win fights.
What is he, a plus like 250?
Plus 210 right now, which is, I mean, it's understandable.
That's a good value bet, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think stylistically it is kind of bad for Whittaker, right? Yeah, because he is like the type of person who he likes to like lunge in, like hit you with quick shots. And against Whittaker, it's kind of bad because he's really long and he likes to counterpunch. But
yeah, he's just waiting for you to come in too hard.
Yeah. So we'll see though.
Was like coming in hard.
Yeah. I think I would just like to play the odds with Whittaker. He's a pretty big underdog, and I think there's value in that.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree. I just think that it makes sense. Adesanya wins.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. Moving on. We have Derrick Lewis versus Tai Tuivasa. A great fight. What do you guys think?
Derrick Lewis via KO round 1 or 2, and not even close.
Yeah. Next.
I mean, I could see it being fun for like 3 minutes. I think it could be like,
I mean, it'll be fun while it lasts. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it could be close too. I mean, so obviously this is kind of like a mirror matchup stylistically. Both these guys like to just stand and bang, basically. The only difference is that Derrick Lewis has a massive power advantage, so that makes it a little difficult if you're rooting for Tai Tuivasa. But I mean, these are heavyweights, so anything could happen.
I think that Derrick Lewis has a bigger experience advantage as well, because you compare his opposition to Tai Tuivasa. If we look at Derrick Lewis, okay, Chris Dukas, then Cyril Gahn, then Curtis Blades, Alex Olnick, Ir Latifi, Blagoy JDS, DC, Volkov, Ngannou, Tabora, Mark Hunt, Travis Brown, Shamil, Abdurrah Kimiyov, Roy Nelson. I think in his last opponents, who's the worst person he fought? Latifi?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
Compared to
he's basically fought the entire like top 10 at this point.
compared this to Tai Tuivasa, who wouldn't get to Gutsu Sakai, solid win. Then Greg Hardy, Harry Hunsucker, Stefan Struve, Sigar Spivak, Blagoy Ivanov, and JDS2 and Arlovski. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do favor Derrick Lewis pretty heavily. I think he will knock him out. This is, in my opinion, this is like a perfect matchup for Derrick Lewis. Like just the type of guy who, just wants to come forward and get into a brawl. Like that's what Derrick Lewis wants. Like he doesn't want to face a grappler. He doesn't want to face like a super technical type of boxer, like JDS was. Like he just wants a guy who wants to go in there and trade blows with him, and that's what Tai Tuivasa is. And I think it's a bad fight for Tai, for sure.
Dude, I don't know if that makes a difference for you guys.
What?
It's in Texas. I don't know if that makes a difference for you guys.
Oh, yeah, a little bit. So you did mention that it played a factor in the Gone fight, but I mean, let's be honest. Like he was never going to be Gone if it was in fucking Alaska. All right, like he wasn't beating Gone. So, all right, Jared Cannonier versus Derrick Brunson. I think this is definitely a more interesting fight than Louis Tuivasa from a competitive point. I think it's a pretty 50-50 fight, honestly. What do you guys think?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's definitely more than, because the lines are almost relatively similar. Like they're pretty close. Like is with this one as opposed to like Lewis and Tuivasa. And I mean, I think there's a lot more room for an underdog winning here.
That's a pretty interesting point. Yeah, like Jared Cannonier's a minus 182, or actually, wait, I'm looking at Bovada right now. Derrick Lewis is minus 190.
Yeah, like
that
that's
doesn't make sense to me at all.
That's what I'm saying. Like I think Lewis is much. I think if they fought like, and if you run them both each 10 times, I think Lewis beats Tuivasa more times than Cannonier beats Brunson. But
I think Brunson's a very good value bet, but I ultimately think that Derrick Brunson is just not that good, as bad as that sounds. So Jared Cannonier, similar to like Derrick Lewis, has fought much tougher competition compared to Derrick Brunson in his last few fights. So you look at Jared Cannonier, you have him Kevin Gastelum, Robert Whittaker, Jack Hermanson, Anderson Silva, David Branch, and I think who's the next fight? Let me check. David Branch. The other one was a different weight class. Derrick Brunson. This might sound bad, but I don't think his competition is very good. Darren Till, Kevin Holland, Edmund Shabazian, Ian Heish, and Elias Theodoro, who he should have lost to, in all honesty. So I think that Brunson also gets hit a lot in his fights. I think that Jared Cannonier just needs one solid uppercut, and he's going to knock out Derrick Brunson, and he has a different level of power than Till. So I think this is a clear win for Jared Cannonier.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with you. Like Derrick Brunson gets hit a lot. I think like Darren Till was like wobbling him, in that fight before he was able to take him down. Derrick Brunson cannot like afford to stand with Jared Cannonier for like more than a minute before he starts shooting, because yeah, I mean, Cannonier's probably the hardest puncher in this division, so if he lands, it's going to be a bad night for Derrick Brunson. But I mean, I could also like Brunson is also, I think, the best wrestler in this division. So, I do see a scenario where like Brunson just takes him down and beats him up, and like Jared can't do anything about it.
there's always the chance that like if Brunson gets that first round takedown and like really puts it on him, like it fucks Jared up for the rest of the fight, both like physically, like because I mean striking cardio is very different than grappling cardio, and like psychologically because he just got like thrown around for the first round.
Right. I just think the problem is that this is recency bias, because we know how bad Darren Till is in the takedown. But Robert Whittaker had him down for like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, just ground and pounding him. That whole 10, 8.5 round we disagreed on. Kevin Holland is just bad. Just really bad. We can all admit that. And Edmund Shabazian's good for one round, and then he kind of falls off. Ian Heinisch is a solid win, though. So I just
Yeah,
don't
no,
think.
I just think Derrick Brunson's wrestling is, for the middleweight division at least, is really good. And I tend to favor guys that have that wrestling in their back pocket that could always like take the fight to the ground whenever they want, which is what Derrick Brunson can do, I believe. So I I'm this is kind of like a again, I think this is kind of like a 50-50 fight almost, but if I were to pick a winner, I would favor Brunson,
That's
actually.
fair. Value bet, so makes sense.
He's also basically he's the Glover Teixeira of middleweight, if you think about it. Like really shitty stand up, really slow, but then if he takes you down, like he has like really good top pressure and he could just change the fight like off one takedown. Like you the same if you get taken down by Derrick Brunson once.
I could see that, yeah. Well,
All
I
right.
don't know much of Jared Cannonier wins. You say Brunson wins, you too. Makes sense.
Yeah. I guess do we want to talk about Kyle Phillips versus Marcelo Rojo? Do we really want to do it?
I mean,
I don't know
Kyler
much.
Phillips heavy favorite for a reason. Does anyone think there's
My
any reason to go against that?
Here is where I would say you might want to play the odds because Kyler Phillips has close fights is the problem. He's really good. He's really exciting. He does spinning stuff very often, but his fights are a little bit too close for my taste for me to like actually bet on him. I think that's the main problem. Like I think you might be able to get like a I don't know, what's his opponent's probably like a plus 200, I'm guessing.
I think
You could
bigger than that.
probably this might be an upset and his
Yeah, he's
opponent his last loss was versus Charles Jourdain, who is I think more dangerous than Kyler Phillips.
I think Kyle Phillips is really good. I mean, he beat Song Yadong, which is a pretty good win to have on your
I
record.
don't that wasn't so it was said unanimous, but if you watch that fight, you could have literally gone for any of them on any of the rounds.
Yeah, but I mean, Song Yadong is really good. I think we could all agree on that. So,
Agree.
just have like a really good fight against Song Yadong is a pretty good notch on your record. And on Paiva, he really only lost that fight because he gassed out trying to go for the finish. Like he was destroying Paiva in the first round, and I think it's a good learning experience, that fight for Kyle Phillips. I think he's gonna learn from that fight, learn to pace himself a little more, and just dismantle Marcelo Rojo, who I've never seen fight. So
Yeah.
I don't know much about Marcelo, to be honest.
I don't either. I just think, like I said, I think Kyler Phillips has too close of fights for my taste, but he is ultimately the smart money.
I mean, yeah, good parlay piece, but that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, moving on. We have Bobby Green versus Nasrat Haqparast. This is a pretty interesting fight. What do you guys think?
Bobby Green wins because
Bobby
maybe
Green.
it's recency bias because he beat Alaquinta. He put up a really good fight against Rafael Fasiv, and he's how do I put this? He's defensively responsible. So he's one of the few people in MMA who does that little like shoulder roll. And I could see him just putting the pace on for what's his face for gosh, I should be remembering his opponent's name. I'm sorry.
Haqparast.
Yeah. The Haqparast. I could see him just steadily like putting the pressure on him through 3 rounds because Bobby Green is a very steady fighter.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. So this is like a striker versus striker battle, and I just Green better striker. If you look at that Fiziev fight where he was putting it on Fiziev that third round, and if you there's an argument that Bobby Green won the second round maybe, and Fiziev later would go on to destroy Brad Riddell, which is so that loss is getting better for Bobby Green. Look at his record, like he pretty much outstrikes everybody he goes against, like at least in terms of like significant strike numbers. And I think he's fought higher level competition compared to Nasrat. So I just think Bobby Green's the better striker here in a striker versus striker battle. So
Mm-hmm.
I will also say that Bobby Green is also kind of a sneaky good wrestler. If you look at his fights, he does mix in the takedowns from time to time. And if you look at Nasrat's last fight against Dan Hooker, like Dan Hooker was able to take him down and control him. So, if Dan Hooker can do that, Bobby Green can for sure do that. So, on top of being the better striker, he also has the takedowns whenever he wants. So, I'm pretty high on in the spot.
Yeah, I think you bring up a good point. Also, if you look at his record, the last person he lost to was Fasi. Before that, it was Thiago Moises, but I remember that fight. And Bobby Green, I think, won that fight. And I'm checking the stats now, and the majority of media members had it for Bobby Green over
Yeah.
Thiago Moises. So,
Yeah,
what do
no,
you
I
think?
think Bobby Green's like a top tier striker, honestly, in that
Mhm.
lightweight division. If you really think about it. So
I mean, he's up there, but he's. I think with even like the Fiziev fight kind of showed he's clearly a level below some of those guys. Like that fight only got close when Fiziev started getting tired.
Um, maybe. I think he's good enough to be ranked.
yes,
That's
I,
tough to
I
say.
actually I think he is like good enough to be ranked for sure in the lightweight division.
The problem is that he's at lightweight is the problem. Like, I guess he's better than Carlos Diego Ferreira. But that's probably about it, to be honest. That's the problem.
Yeah, actually,
Brad
that's
Riddell,
also
Saryukin, Gamrot, Fasid, Gillespie, McGregor. Well, maybe McGregor, Heath are not there. Hooker, Ferguson, RDA, Chandler. Yeah,
I mean, he could beat Fiziev. Like he can beat Fiziev.
that's
I
true.
think like
Maybe in a 5-round fight.
He could probably beat him and Riddell. Maybe that's MMA mathy, but still.
yeah, he could. I mean, again, like yeah, if you look at how Riddell went against Fiziev, I think Bobby Green could for sure beat Riddell too.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think this is a good fight. I'm actually really looking forward to this one.
Yeah,
I
same.
mean, I enjoy watching Bobby Green fight, but I think we might need to pump the brakes on a little of the comments.
He's a
No.
top tier striker. I do, I do think he's a top tier striker in the.
If he was in any division besides lightweight or bantamweight, he'd be ranked.
Yeah,
Maybe, but he isn't lightweight, so.
He could be.
yeah.
Okay. Prelims.
Yeah. Which ones do we want to talk about?
Old Man Arlovski versus Jared Vanderaa. I think Old Man Arlovski is still gonna do his thing and win to a steady decision.
I'm
Yeah,
inclined to agree with this.
yeah. I mean, we
Yeah.
talk about like Tom Brady like being like the guy who um is beating time. Like, look at fucking Andrei Arlovski. He's been fighting since 1999, since he was 18 years old, and it's now 2022, and he's still fucking fighting. Still in the UFC, and I think he's still really good. If you look at his record and you look at the guys he loses to, all those guys would like go on to like be in like the upper rankings in the heavyweight division.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like that gatekeeper for like if you beat him, like you will be a good heavyweight contender. And I don't think Jared Vanderaa is a heavyweight contender.
I agree because when I look at his record too, I'm like losing to Tom Aspinall. That makes sense. Losing to Jairzinho Rosenstruck. That makes sense. Losing to Augusto Desai via a split decision makes sense. Shamil and Tai Tuivasa, all those kind of make sense.
Yeah.
I don't have anything else to add.
Yeah, I like Andrei Arlovski. He's still I don't know how he does it. He's fucking 43 years old and he's still like beating these up and comers. So good for Andre.
Mm-hmm. All right. This is one we might disagree a little bit on. Roxanne Modafferi versus Casey O'Neill.
I like Casey
I
O'Neill a lot in this
I
one.
do.
Huh?
Is that right?
I don't think she gets finished because I know you guys think she's going to get finished. I don't see it.
I think I feel like Casey O'Neill is she's just kind of nasty. She's like nasty. Like the way she fights is kind of like a breath of fresh air for like women's fights. Like I really do think she goes out there and her goal is to finish the opponent. She has a really high work rate, and yeah, she's just relentless. She also has like that resting bitch face, where you know she's just like a mean chick. Yeah, no, I like her. I think she's gonna finish Roxanne. And also, like, this is Roxanne's retirement fight. Like, how much does she give a fuck about this fight? She's probably not training that hard. I think
I
Casey destroys her.
I disagree. I think she's like she approaches it as a sport where she's not coming in for a paycheck. I think that's a really weird thing to say about Roxanne. She's considering she's literally the most experienced woman in women's MMA ever. I if Talia Santos couldn't finish her, I don't think Casey O'Neill could finish her. Roxanne's a really good grappler. I think she's definitely outmatched in the stand-up. That's fair enough. I think we should pump the brake on like Casey O'Neill being this amazing finisher. Because if you look at the people she's finished, and Antonina Shevchenko, we already know she's a disappointment. So, and she
Yeah.
gets finished in pretty much all her fights except by Caitlin Chukagan. Shanna Dobson. Shanna Dobson has 4 wins and 5 losses in her UFC career.
Yeah, she's quite bad. She is quite
Yeah.
bad.
And then Laura Procipio, maybe actually that's decent. But I don't think she's anywhere near the grappler that Roxanne is.
That's
Yeah.
true, but
Sorry, go
Casey's
ahead.
also like she's 24. Like I mean, it's very likely this is like with every fight she gets in, like that should be her new peak for the near future at least, considering her age.
That's valid. I just
Yeah,
think
I just
that
see. I think the fight is gonna be Casey O'Neill just out grappling Roxanne Modafferi. She's gonna get on top and she's gonna swing on her, and I think there's a good chance that you know a TKO comes from that, or Roxanne just gives up the neck and it's a choke. So
I think if Roxanne's gonna lose, it's gonna be via decision. I don't see her getting finished. She's only been finished what, like, let me
a couple
check.
times.
4 times in her 40 fight career, or in her 44 fight career. And the last time she was finished was in 2018, about 3 years ago. No, wait, no, that isn't right. When's the last time she was finished?
She hasn't been finished in a long time.
The last
It's
time she got
20.
finished was over a decade ago, in
Yeah.
2011. So she also got KO'd via a slam. That's interesting.
Yeah,
So
I just think I think Casey O'Neill is kind of that next generation of female fighters. I do think she is I do think she fights quite nasty, and her goal is to finish. I just don't think a lot of women fight like her, honestly.
how about we make a side bet, Josh? If Roxanne Modafferi doesn't get finished, I want you to DM Casey O'Neill and
Oh
try to
my
like
god!
get her Snapchat or something.
All right, we'll talk about this off air.
Hell no. Treat her like we do Ryan Hall. You're fucking bad. You should be ashamed of yourself. A
I should
fourth
challenge her. I should challenge
a
her to
fourth year at ATS
a
is
BJJ fight.
I think that
yeah,
could be a little gimmick we add on to these. Whoever does the worst each week has to like DM a fighter from that
yeah.
card.
Well, the fact that you can't fucking submit anything is pathetic. You should be ashamed of yourself. I've seen 4th graders in kids jujitsu class who better than that.
Yeah, that could be interesting.
We could do that for next card. We'll just negotiate it. But I think that's a really funny thing. We could do little side bets or whoever does the worst.
I don't know about that, but maybe.
Cyberbullying fighters.
What's the
I
worst
like
thing that happened, Josh? You get her number and then you live happily ever after? You're in her corner?
Anyways, let's move on. Do we have any other fights we want to talk about?
Alex Perez versus Matt Schnell is a really, really good fight. It's just that I don't have enough knowledge of the flyweights to give an accurate assessment. It's like number 5 versus like number 7 or something. So you should probably watch that if you are into that.
Yeah. Wait, it's number 5 versus number. Okay, Matt Schnell's Alex Perez is a really heavy favorite for some reason.
Let me check. Alexander Perez is number 4. Matt Schnell's number 9.
It's not that big of a difference.
Yeah, I mean, that's still like a pretty elite fight for that division.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't have a lot of opinions about this fight, to be honest.
I just feel like the audience should watch that fight. It's just that I don't know enough about it.
Yeah. This fight may or may not be cut in the final cut of this video because we have nothing to say about this fight.
I think that's part of the charm. I think the only other fight I'm interested in is Alexander Hernandez versus Renato Moicano.
It's kind of a crime that this fight's in the early prelims. How's that even possible? This is a good-ass fight.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's interesting. Alexander Hernandez has looked really good as late. Probably because he's gone against not very good competition. But I think we are a little bit too harsh on him for his losses. So I could see him easily winning this next fight against Moicano. Moicano's also fighting a weight class up. Well, I guess not a weight class up for a while, but I don't think he's as elite as he could be.
Yeah. He won his last fight against Jai Herbert, which actually is a pretty good win, but he got knocked out by Fiziev. He got knocked out by Korean Zombie, knocked out by Jose Aldo. I think he's just a pretty chinny fighter. And Alex Hernandez is a guy who likes to get in there and knock you out in the first round. So I believe that is exactly what's going to happen. I think Alexander Hernandez is going to knock him out in the first round.
Yeah. Anything else? I don't know if there's much else. I don't think I have anything else to add. That would just be random thoughts about random things.
Yeah.
I don't think. What was else on the prelims? We hit Casey O'Neill. We hit what's the main event of the prelims?
Arlovski, Vanderaa.
Yeah.
William Knight versus Maxim Grishin. I have no idea. I think Josh loves Maxim.
I'm in on Maxim in this one. After watching one fight of Maxim.
We decide the prelims, right?
But no, I think Maxim's really big for the light heavyweight division. He fought at heavyweight before. He actually made his UFC debut at heavyweight against Marcin Tybura. And William Knight, he's 5'8", 205 pounds.
He's a tank.
The dude's a fucking tank. He looks like if a Mr. Olympia competitor decided to do MMA. Like, that's William Knight.
I agree.
It doesn't make any sense. Probably on steroids.
Oh, natty.
You know how you know someone's on steroids? So I watched an interview of William Knight, and the guy was like, they were talking about steroids, and William Knight was just like, yeah, I don't even know what steroids are. And I just think that if you're an adult in 2022 who's a professional athlete, I just feel like you know what steroids are. So
it was Jake Paul answer when he's like, "Oh, I had to Google what PEDs are." No, you didn't. Like, if you watch sports, you know what PEDs are.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, yeah, it's the Jake Paul response. And
like,
to me, that's like
PEDs were from watching baseball.
Yeah. That's basically like, I feel like that's like the wink, wink, nudge, nudge of, yeah, I'm definitely on steroids. Like,
yeah, I'm definitely juicing. Please stop asking me. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
Question.
But yeah, no, William Knight, he's good. I mean, he has power, like decent striking, but I think Maxim's just better than him skill wise in every category. And also, if you look at William Knight's losses, so he lost to Dao and Jung. I think he has a hard time against like really big guys in that division because Dao and Jung was able to just ragdoll him at will. He took him down many times and just destroyed him. And I think Maxim Grishin can do that. I think he also can just stand with him and outbox him. He is old. He's 37 years old. He has a ton of fights. So there is a world where William Knight just brutally knocks him out. But I'm in on Grishin in this fight. And I'm willing to put my money on it.
Yeah. I don't. This is a stay away fight for me. So.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get involved on this one.
All right, we can get to our bets.
You want to get into our bets?
Yeah.
Wrap this up soon. All right. I can start it off. So here are my bets for UFC 271. I have Robert Whittaker by decision at plus 500. I'm putting down 1 unit on that. I have Derrick Lewis by knockout at minus 110. I'm putting 3 units down on that. I have a Grishin O'Neal parlay at minus 104, putting down 3 units on that. And Hernandez Green parlay at plus 295, putting down 3 units on that.
I really like that last parlay in particular. I think that's a really good one at plus 300. That could pay dividends.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Dermer, you want to go?
All right, I'll go for it. All right, first we got Whittaker on the money line. I think that's plus 210, 2 units. And then we got Casey O'Neill by stoppage. That's submission or TKO at plus 200. Put another 2 on that. Then we got a Brunson and Derrick Lewis parlay plus 268. 3 units on that, and then 3 units on Derrick Lewis by knockout minus 110.
All right.
I think that, well, I'll go through my things first. I have Israel Adesanya via KO at plus 190. Derrick Lewis by KO round 1 or 2 plus 105. Bobby Green via points 170, and Andrei Arlovski via points 145. I think if the audience has anything to say, you got to bet Derrick Lewis by KO. We all bet that.
Yeah, so we're basically all in on Derrick Lewis by KO. I mean, if you're betting Derrick Lewis, you might as well bet him by KO. You you get a little boost in the odds. I just like, what world does Derrick Lewis win by decision? It's like, it doesn't happen.
Not against such a scrapper.
Especially not against Tuivasa, stylistically.
Mm-hmm.
So we're split on the main events. Me and Dermer like Whittaker. Lorenzo likes Izzy.
I mean, Whittaker's the vet, but it's hard to imagine a world where Izzy loses to someone like that isn't a wrestle fucker.
Yeah. Also, this is a quick update. I'm at 23, so I'm pretty proud of this. I'm very clearly number 1.
Yeah, maybe we should update the points also. So
yeah,
I'm at minus 0.08, so basically break even.
Mm-hmm.
Alex is at minus 7.05, and Lorenzo is doing very well at 23.84. So
yeah, my best bet was Jasmine Druzvashikis, but my proudest bet probably Michelle Pereira by points. Oh, actually, no, wait, Nick Maxwell via decision was the biggest odds, but Michelle Pereira has my heart.
Yeah.
My worst bet was, what was my worst bet? Ngannou was my worst bet.
Yeah, we all lost in that main event.
Yeah. What about you guys? What was your best and worst bet?
What do I like? I had Maxwell, but I only did him decision only, which didn't pay as much as it should have been, but probably that one.